It's a radio frequency identification, or R.F.I.D. tag. The same technology used to tag animals to help reunite a pet with its owner. R.F.I.D. has now won Food and Drug Administration approval for use in humans.
But it occurs to me, I've got them in my dogs. Why wouldn't I have them in small children, too? VeriChip, subsidiary of publicly traded Applied Digital, has added Tommy Thompson to its board of directors.
Molly Phillips hopes her worst nightmare never happens again. To make sure, she had a new device called the VeriChip, a computer chip about the size of a grain of rice placed under her skin.
If I had the chip, I could travel all over the world. That would give me the freedom of living a life without doubt.
An Ohio company has become the first American firm to implant silicon chips in employees to track their every move. Don't be surprised if your company asks to tag you.
Then there is the issue of privacy and whether employers might start demanding employees get the chip implanted as a form of ID.
In the 1980s, you take a polygraph test to get a job. In the 1990s, it was drug testing. A little later on, it was reading your email, and then each step along the line, you start to ask the question, is the law going to create any zones of safety?
Actually, it's an inexpensive solution versus a retina scanner or a fingerprint ID. Those solutions are rather expensive. A retina scan, a fingerprint ID.
Now, many of us carry around an equivalent to this tiny little chip already, only they don't look like this, they look like this.
Finished. We now have over 60 hospitals that have agreed to implement the system, so that time is nearing.
The way it works is it actually picks up and amplifies ambient electromagnetic energy from the reader devices. And if you have one of these things in your arm and you get within range of a powerful electromagnetic field, it can actually burn you.
Is there a vast R.F.I.D. conspiracy out there that is they would say this is a slippery slope. This is the first thing. This is where you lull us into a false sense of security. We all get these things, and then the next thing I don't know, it's
making
like
Soylent Green.
Like the truth. So that time is nearing.
It's closer than you think. Welcome to the future.
More now of our special coverage here tonight, life in the U.S. in 10 years' time. By that time, there may be all kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes. Here now with more on the future of technology, NBC's Tom Costello.
The year is 2017. You're rushed to a hospital unconscious with no ID or medical history, but thanks to a microchip under your skin, it's all there. Science fiction 20 years ago, but a biometric reality today.
The technology is based on answering one simple question.
am I who I say I am?
Already, fingerprints and iris scans verify passenger identities at airports. Within 10 years, that technology may be even more widespread. And look for more complex facial recognition programs that scan a crowd of thousands looking for a single terrorist. Today's facial recognition software starts with the eyes. Then it maps out the contours of the face and compares that against a database of millions, a database that's growing by the day. What's next? At the University of Bath in England, researchers predict big changes for consumers.
I think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology, if that's what people want in 10 years' time.
In fact, it's already here. The latest home security locks use fingerprints to control deadbolts. And at the Jewel Osco grocery store in Chicago, some customers pay using their fingerprints. No paper or plastic.
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
So will future department stores scan our irises, like in the movie Minority Report, then offer products catered to who we are?
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap.
Experts say that technology is here now. The challenge is to safeguard our privacy in a brave new world. Tom Costello, NBC News, Alexandria, Virginia.
Highly touted healthcare innovation that could actually have a hazard to your health. The product in question, those special microchips, first implanted in pets, encoded with information to help you get your lost dog or cat home safely. But as we reported, they're now being implanted in humans as well, encoded with a person's medical records. The FDA called it one of 2005's top innovation technologies. But could the chips pose serious medical risks? Here's ABC's Dan Harris on that.
You're going to feel a little pinch, maybe a little bit of pressure, okay? 1, 2, 3, and we'll be done.
The microchips have been implanted in hundreds of people, like Ida Frankel, who has Alzheimer's. If she gets lost and ends up in a hospital, doctors can scan her arm and get all of her medical records. But when the government approved these chips for human use 3 years ago, it did not mention that there were studies showing that similar chips caused malignant tumors in lab rats and mice. Cancer doctors who spoke to the Associated Press, which broke this story, say you can't always make the leap between cancer in mice and cancer in humans. But Dr. Robert Ben Ezra said there is no way in the world, having read this information, that I would have one of those chips implanted in my skin. The head of the company marketing these microchips to humans says the company had no idea about those studies.
We recognize we have a corporate responsibility to review these studies, to look at other studies, to do new studies if necessary, and do what is appropriate after reviewing all of the information in all regards, and we intend to do that.
Perhaps the most immediate concern is for household pets. Thousands of them have been implanted with microchips, including this reporter's 2 cats. If they run away, animal control officers could scan them and send them back to me rather than putting them to sleep.
The risk of getting lost and turning up at a shelter or pound where you're not recognized and perhaps ending up getting put to sleep is a bigger risk, I think.
Perhaps worth the risk for animals, but for humans, doctors recommend further studies first. For Good Morning America, Dan Harris, ABC News, New York.
To think something so small can connect you to everything that matters.
When your life and all you love
are on the line.
HealthLink is always with you when every second counts in the emergency room, providing immediate access to your medical records.
Because Bob has trouble remembering all his medications.
Because I'm in love with my kids' kids.
Because my car lost control while driving.
Because now I'm looking out for both of us.
Because I have diabetes, but it doesn't have me.
Because I spend my life in the ER trying to save yours.